Let's not sugarcoat it. What just leaked out of Buckingham Palace is the kind of headline you'd expect from a soap opera, not a real-life monarchy. According to sources deep inside the royal circle, the palace has now made an official demand for DNA tests on Meghan and Harry's children. Yes, you heard that right, actual DNA tests. Not out of curiosity or family trivia, but to answer a question most people thought was settled long ago: are Archie and Lilibet really their biological children? That question alone sounds unreal, but this isn't just a wild rumor floating around Twitter or another splashy tabloid scoop. Insiders insist this demand is coming straight from inside palace walls. The reason? Explosive allegations that Meghan may have faked her pregnancy with Archie, staged it, performed it, turned it into a public spectacle. What's being whispered isn't just some internet conspiracy. If there's any truth to it, we're talking about one of the most staggering public deceptions in royal history. But before we even get to whether these claims are real, let's pause and break down how it got to this point. Because a royal crisis like this doesn't just appear out of nowhere. This scandal is years in the making, and the fuse has finally reached the powder keg.
I will say that, like a lot of people, I saw the Getty images of the pillow dropping behind the skirt, and I thought at first they could be photoshopped, but Getty Images is very reliable.
For years, people gossiped about Meghan's pregnancy, whispers about her baby bump mysteriously changing shape, about how she strolled around in stilettos deep into her third trimester, and even squatted down in ways that no one expects from someone about to give birth. At the time, those rumors were quickly dismissed. The public was told to hush, don't be rude, don't be insensitive, but the whispers never died out. They just got louder behind the scenes. Fast forward to now, and those rumors aren't whispers anymore, they're a full-blown demand for proof. A royal DNA test request isn't just unusual, it's almost unthinkable. The royals don't do this in public. They don't air their family drama like it's laundry hanging out for the neighbors to see, but clearly, something behind palace doors has pushed the royal family past its breaking point. So what was the trigger? It wasn't a sudden burst of suspicion. According to insiders, it started with a careful review of old photos, videos, and records, timelines, footage, everything related to Meghan's first pregnancy. And the more they dug, the more they found inconsistencies, missing records, conflicting statements, details that just didn't add up.
So are you saying that he's 2 weeks older? And so I thought maybe that would allow time to wean the baby away from a birth mother if a surrogate was used. It would make sense, but instead of lying to the world, why not just say, we want a baby, we're having a baby, and we're using a surrogate?
Here's where things get even more intense. According to some high-level royal sources, there's no official record of Meghan giving birth to Archie in any hospital under her own name. Nothing signed off by the royal doctors, no public documentation matching up with what was claimed at the time. That's wild, especially when you remember how royal births are usually handled. There are always photos, interviews, and a clear statement from a royal physician or hospital, something to mark the moment. But in Archie's case, it's just a suspicious blank space. Let's be clear, the issue isn't surrogacy. Plenty of women around the world choose surrogates for all kinds of personal, medical, or emotional reasons, and that's absolutely valid. The real problem here is the alleged cover-up, the lie, the version of events that the world was sold. If Meghan and Harry had used a surrogate and simply been honest about it, this conversation would be totally different. But if they hid the truth and built a global brand and public sympathy around a pregnancy that never happened, that's not just misleading, that's manipulation on a scale the world rarely sees.
Don't pull that rubbish at the holidays because people aren't buying it. It's just, it's so...
And let's not forget, this isn't just about two celebrities in the spotlight. Meghan and Harry are directly connected to the British monarchy, an institution built on bloodline, legacy, and centuries-old tradition. So when questions come up about the legitimacy of that bloodline, it doesn't just cause gossip, it shakes the entire foundation of the royal system. The public is demanding answers, the palace is desperate for certainty, and right now, Meghan and Harry may not be able to hide behind silence any longer. The royal family is no stranger to scandal, but this time the controversy cuts far deeper, because at the center of this storm isn't just Meghan or Harry, it's what the crown stands for. The monarchy doesn't survive on popularity or clever branding, its real power comes from heritage, clear bloodlines, and absolute legitimacy. That's exactly why this DNA test demand feels so different, so much heavier. It isn't just a personal matter, it's an institutional crisis, and that raises the stakes to a whole new level. King Charles, now firmly on the throne, has reportedly been working quietly behind the scenes to reshape the monarchy for the future. Insiders say he's focusing on a slimmed-down royal team, tightening rules, and doing whatever it takes to shield the crown from more drama. The last thing he needs in his reign is a fresh wave of chaos, especially tied to his youngest son. But when the topic of royal succession and official roles came up, everything changed. Who actually deserves a place in the royal future? That's when things reportedly took a sharp turn, because if Archie and Lilibet are to be included as royals, the palace wants absolute certainty that they belong in the line of succession. That's what triggered a full review of the past, all the pregnancy photos, all the hospital paperwork, every detail of Meghan's public journey as a mother. And what they found, or more accurately what they didn't find, is what's lighting the fuse right now. Missing hospital documentation, no clear physician records, and most damning of all, reports that royal advisors uncovered confidential documents hinting Meghan may never have physically carried Archie at all. Instead of finding the standard record confirming Meghan's delivery, palace insiders say there was nothing. No hospital name, no official document signed by royal doctors, not even a single piece of evidence pointing to standard maternity protocol. And that's shocking for a family that records everything, even down to the last bouquet at the bedside. This glaring lack of proof is no longer being chalked up to simple forgetfulness. It's now seen as a possible cover-up. And the public? They're not mincing words anymore. Old footage is popping up everywhere. Clips showing Meghan's bump changing shape dramatically from one day to the next. Memes of her gracefully squatting in heels with a belly that seems to shift like a prop from a movie set. People are openly calling it out. Bizarre, unnatural, and yes, fake. Social media is running wild. Side-by-side comparison videos, slow-motion analysis, and forensic-level commentary are everywhere. But as the internet digs in, something serious risks getting lost in the viral frenzy. Because if Meghan's pregnancy wasn't real, we're not just talking about a little fib. This would be a calculated transformation of a royal birth into a carefully crafted public narrative. A story of triumph, diversity, and breaking tradition, all possibly staged. And it worked. Meghan and Harry became the royal rebels the world wanted to cheer for, landing global praise, sellout speaking tours, best-selling book deals, and blockbuster Netflix specials. But if that entire narrative was knowingly built on a lie, it poisons everything at the core. And Harry? He's been just as invested in this story as Meghan. He's defended it fiercely, cutting off family ties, attacking the media, and painting the picture of a couple fighting for their survival. But if he knew the real story and still pushed the lie, the hit to his reputation could be fatal. This isn't just a royal scandal anymore. Is a true test of royal integrity, of personal loyalty, and of whether the palace will finally force the truth out no matter the fallout. Pressure is closing in from every direction now. The palace, famous for its quiet restraint, has dropped the gloves. Royal insiders, former staff, and even commentators who once avoided criticizing Harry and Meghan are demanding clarity out loud and in public. The message couldn't be clearer. If the children are to have a place in the royal future, the truth must be put on record. No more speculation, no more curated interviews, and no more selective stories. One senior palace aide summed it up bluntly: they've had years to set the record straight. If they won't do it now, the institution will. That's exactly what's at stake now. Not just strained family ties, but the very integrity of the monarchy itself. The titles, the honors, the royal roles, none of it can exist in a state of limbo, and absolutely not under a shadow of possible deception. For an institution that has weathered world wars, abdications, and scandalous divorces, this may be one of its most awkward moments ever. Because this isn't about outside forces threatening the crown, it's about a crisis that started from within, and that's what makes it sting so much more. Here's the catch. Meghan and Harry's silence isn't fooling anyone anymore. What once came off as dignified privacy is now viewed as strategic avoidance. Every day they refuse to address the DNA request, public suspicion only grows. For many, refusing to answer is no longer just a private choice, it's an answer in itself. And if they do comply, the consequences, no matter what the results are, will be enormous. If the DNA confirms Harry as the biological father, it won't erase the deception claims, but it might finally take the heat off the children. It could re-establish at least a glimmer of legitimacy in the eyes of the palace. But if the tests hint at even the slightest contradiction, then it's no longer just a scandal. It's a full-blown crisis of royal identity, a constitutional mess that no one in the palace or parliament is ready to face. Inside palace walls, Prince William is reportedly furious, livid at the damage to the family's image and their centuries-old legacy. Princess Anne, always the blunt realist, has apparently called the entire situation a disgrace. And King Charles, word from insiders is that he's devastated. This isn't the reign he ever pictured. He's torn between his love for his son and his unwavering duty to the crown. But most of all, he understands just how fragile public trust is right now, and he knows he can't risk losing it over questions of bloodline and Netflix-fueled controversy. The heartbreaking reality? It didn't have to come to this. If Meghan had chosen transparency, if the story had simply been about strength, joy, or even medical difficulties, the public would likely have rallied behind her. People are often far more understanding than they're given credit for. But by transforming a personal journey into a polished fairy tale and then possibly faking parts of it for the cameras, the backlash was inevitable. Now, the monarchy is drawing a clear line in the sand. The message is as blunt as it gets: no DNA, no titles, no proof, no place in the fold. It sounds harsh, it's cold, but for the crown, it's seen as absolutely necessary. Because the future of the monarchy cannot rest on blurred truths and sentimental PR spins. The world is watching closer than ever. Whatever Meghan and Harry choose next, whether they finally agree to the test, try to deny it, or attempt to spin the story once again, will define how they're remembered. Will they go down as victims of royal injustice or as architects of their own downfall? In the end, it could all come down to one swap, one test, and a truth that can no longer be hidden no matter how high the palace walls. And make no mistake, the ripple effects of this moment go far beyond Buckingham Palace. The British public, already divided on the Sussexes, is glued to every headline. Polls show a surge in demands for transparency, not just from royalists, but from ordinary people who once cheered Harry and Meghan's story of love and independence. Social media is a frenzy, with hashtags swinging between support and outrage, every new leak or rumor fueling even more speculation. International media outlets are camping outside Montecito and Windsor, hoping to catch even a whisper of movement, a sign of compliance or defiance. Meanwhile, other royals are watching closely too. Future generations, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis will one day inherit the legacy shaped by what happens right now. Insiders say even palace staff, who usually keep their opinions to themselves, are whispering that this is a turning point, a now or never moment for the monarchy's credibility. Behind closed doors, legal teams are preparing for every scenario, from quiet compliance to full-scale fallout. The stakes could not be higher. If the truth comes out, whatever it is, it will set a precedent for how the royal family handles scandal in the digital age. No more secrets, no more safe shadows behind palace walls.